everybody, I'm Jalen and I'm back doing another video. This is the Q&A video. I got a few questions and I put it out on social media that people could ask questions and that I would answer them. So, one of the questions that I got was, are you familiar with the books that were supposedly taken out of the Bible, the Gnostic books, Enoch? I did hear that there was a book of Enoch. I never really did any research or looking into any other book besides, Genesis through Revelation. But, since I was asked this question, I did go into research last night about the Gnostic book, the Gnostic Gospels. And when I was online, I was reading that it said the Gnostic books were found in Egypt, and it was a number of documents in Upper Egypt. And once they found those documents, they was able to put it together with some other documents that they had, and as a whole it became the Gnostic Gospels. And this is just me summarizing. But I went on to read, and they were saying how an inferior god named Demiurge or something like that created Earth, and the philosophy was that everything on Earth corrupts or erodes or disappears. And they used examples of an apple. If you leave an apple on a table for long enough, it's going to decay and disappear. And they used I think metal as another example. If you leave metal sitting out for long enough, it's going to decay and disappear. And then they used an example of a 20-year-old. When you're young, you fit, you're strong, but as time goes on, things don't work like how they used to. So from what I read, the idea was that how can the supreme God create a planet where things decay or where things die? So they're claiming that an inferior God created a planet where things die or decay or whatever the case may be. And they were saying that they felt as though the supreme God, Jehovah Jireh, was unknowable or unreachable. But I can tell you right now that he's knowable and reachable. But I feel like if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, if you claim to be a follower of Jesus Christ, I don't think that you should be looking into Gnostics, because from what I've read, my opinion, the Gnostics is just a contradiction of what God already spoke. And for me, who does that sound like? That sounds like the enemy. That sounds like the devil. The devil thought that he deserved God's throne, his authority, his power, his place. That's why he got kicked out of heaven. So, for me to hear, some kind of inferior God created a planet where things decay and die, that sounds like hell to me. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. I personally wouldn't look. I don't believe in the Gnostic Gospels. I believe that everything that we need to live this life is from Genesis through Revelation. So I don't know who this is for, or but I feel like God is saying it, because when I read, they was claiming that it was secret teachings of Jesus. And like I said, I don't know who this is for, but God is saying leave the secret teachings alone. All you need is from Genesis to Revelation to live this life. You know what I mean? God is saying, read what I left you. Read what I gave you. You know what I mean? You barely read the Bible now. You don't need to be looking into any secret teachings or secret gospels of Jesus. Me personally, I don't want to serve an inferior God. You know what I mean? When I read the Bible, it said that God, Jehovah Jireh, created the heavens and the earth, and it was good. And he made it good. Light was good. The moon was good. The sun was good. Man and woman was good. I don't want to serve an inferior God where their philosophy is that things die and decay. And I'm pretty sure that I don't know everything because I didn't read that deep into it. And I'm not here to bash nobody else's religion, but I serve Yahweh, Jehovah Jireh. And I think that if you are a follower of Jesus Christ, you don't need to involve yourself in anything that is going to make your God out to be a liar. Because I did a little bit of reading, and it to me it just seems like a negative twist, and they're just trying to throw God into contradiction. You know what I'm saying? So I believe what God left me from Genesis to Revelation. I have heard about other books and things of that nature, but I'm not really curious about it. I'm still trying to finish this one. So, that's just my take or my opinion or my, godly wisdom. Leave the secret books alone. You know what I mean? Because everything that I have read in the Bible and everything that I have experienced in this life was from Genesis to Revelation. Everything that I have put my faith on and my hope in came true. I mean, I have seen God, deliver me. I have seen God use my enemies as footstools. I have seen God drive my enemies out before me. I have felt God touch me at the top of my head, and it went all the way down to the sole of my feet. It wasn't just something that I was regurgitating because I had read it, or my mama said it, or my daddy said it, or my grandmama said it. I have been in God's presence. So I believe what the Bible says, and me personally, I don't need nothing else. So I hope that answers the question. I've heard of secret books, not secret books, but I've heard of like books being left out of the Bible and things of that nature, but I was never curious about it until I got the question. But, I think that what God did leave us is all that we need. And the second question that I got was, do you fear losing friendships as a young Christian? So when I had graduated college, I believe that God called me to start YouTube. So I did, and I started making videos, and I started posting things on Facebook, and God was speaking to me and having me to record things. So I think I did have a fear of being rejected by them because I knew who I used to be. I knew what they knew me for, or who they, used to know me by. So there was a fear of, will they accept me? I went through a period of, are they going to think I'm cool? Are they going to think I'm lame? They probably won't want to hang out with me anymore. I don't know. I don't do what I used to do, so I don't know if I'll fit in. So I do think it was a fear of being rejected, but all at the same time, I had been listening to so many sermons. I felt like God had been speaking to me over and over again, kind of telling me and preparing me, for when the time comes where I'm going to have to lose some things. I feel like I was prepped to lose some things. It still hurt a little bit. It still bothered me in some sort of way, but I do feel like God gave me a certain amount of knowledge about what was going to happen. I had heard so many people preach saying that when you get saved, you're going to lose friendships, and your boyfriend might mysteriously break up with you. I've heard all of those things. So when it happened, I felt like I wasn't blindsided or like unaware. So I think it was a fear of rejection, and I remember being in the kitchen at my apartment, and I was feeling a little bit ashamed of God, and I was like, man, like I don't know if I should be posting all this stuff or saying all this stuff. I don't know what people are going to think. And the Holy Spirit spoke to me, and He said, are you going to walk with me, or are you going to walk with them? And I said, well, Lord, the obvious choice. The obvious choice is I'm going to walk with you. And I felt like God said to me, are you going to stay stuck in a false identity so you can please man, or are you going to be who I called you to be? So I did go through a period where it was a fear of being rejected by my peers, but I think I got through it a lot easier than I thought I would. I thought it was going to be extremely hard, but God was just worth more than anything that I could have lost. So I am still hoping for more friends, but I also have listened to so many sermons, and I've had so many people like T.D. Jakes and Sarah Jakes Roberts say, sometimes the road with God is lonely, and sometimes you have to do things alone. Sometimes you go through lonely seasons. So God, when He calls you, He sets you apart. So I think that when you get that in your mind, that you will be set apart um, for a lot of things, that it makes it a lot easier, and not set apart just so you can be alone and isolated. But a lot of times I am set apart. You are set apart because you need to pray. You are set apart because you need to study, or sometimes I have to go off and pray, or some nights I have to turn off the TV, and I have to block out all distractions to talk to God and spend time with Him. So I think He kind of puts you in situations where you are isolated, so that you can get used to having to go off on your own, like how Jesus had to go off and pray. So I think sometimes He just separates us from things to equip us for when times do get lonely, or when you feel like you are doing things by yourself. So I did experience that fear of being rejected by my friends, but I think I'm okay now. I think I'm all right, and I loved all my friends that I went to college with. We was down like full flat tires. So I love them still to this day. But I think when you get older, sometimes you just you lose friendships and relationships that you thought you wouldn't, and I've come to learn that that kind of thing is just a part of life. And especially when you're gonna walk with God, He strips a lot of things away from you that you thought you would have needed. So I hope that that answers the question, and I will probably do another one later on down the line. So you can think or ponder on what you want to ask, and I will see you guys back next time.